Next on Good Morning El Paso, one man is behind bars. 2 other people are in the hospital after Monday night's SWAT situation. We have new details on who was involved.
And Sunland Park city manager is out of a job this morning after council voted to fire him. What he had to say after his termination last night. Also,
we went down ladders and walked out here and saw all the smoke and saw some flames inside the car.
A train car crashes into a Jeep, leaving several people dead. The NTSB is now investigating, trying to find out just what happened.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
And good morning, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle.
And I'm Hillary Floren. Good morning, everyone. We still have a few more weeks of winter, but it didn't feel like it yesterday, did it?
It did not, and it won't feel like it again today. Crystal Cly is standing by with the latest on our forecast. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, yeah, it definitely does not feel like winter. It hasn't been feeling like winter. It's not going to be feeling like winter. Let's talk about your temperatures this morning. 41 is what we're at in El Paso right now. Our winds are calm. Our relative humidity definitely lower than yesterday when we saw it in that 80 to 90% range. Instead, 78% right now. In Las Cruces, we're at 39. It feels like 35, so a little cooler in Las Cruces. Winds are at 6 miles per hour. That's why it feels a tad bit cooler. But again, temperatures are just going to crank right up in the afternoon. We're looking at 60s and even 70s. How high will they go over the next 7 days is the big question. Could they get near the 80s? That answer is coming up in about 10 minutes from now.
All right, thanks so much, Crystal. And developing right now, ISIS militants appear to have executed another hostage. Pictures published to an official media page depict the death of a Jordanian pilot. The video appears to show Muath al-Kasabeh burned alive. And though it was just released yesterday, Jordanian state TV is reporting the pilot was actually killed a month ago. We'll have much more on this coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, new details this morning in that hostage situation that we brought you yesterday morning on Good Morning El Paso. We've learned it was a Border Patrol agent who held 2 victims hostage, one of them his wife. It started just after 11 Monday night at a home right off of Desert Willow and Bradley in Montana Vista. The suspect has since been identified as 40-year-old Alberto Montelongo. Pictured here, he is now charged with 2 counts of criminal attempted murder. Customs and Border Protection say Montelongo was fighting with another off-duty agent when he shot a 3rd person. One is in critical condition. The other has life-threatening injuries. Here's what a neighbor had to tell us.
We were going to town this morning and got down the road, and there was yellow tape across the street, so we had to drop a neighbor off some stuff, and she told us what had happened.
I know you said it doesn't bother you, you're not scared or anything, but
no.
Does it bother you that these Border Patrol agents are engaging in this kind of activity?
Whether they work at the Border Patrol or the police department or Walmart, it's all the same. They know what they're supposed to do. We know the law. We're supposed to uphold it. They're supposed to uphold it.
CBP says Montelongo was an agent with 11 years experience at the Isleta station. We also confirmed he was just arrested on Friday for a domestic dispute that happened on Thursday.
The investigation continues this morning into the death of a 10-day-old baby boy in Doña County. The newborn was found unresponsive inside an East Mesa home Monday. The sheriff's office says the boy's mother told investigators she woke up in the morning and found he wasn't breathing. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. A sheriff spokeswoman told us the baby tested positive for methamphetamines when he was born. No other information has been released. Sunland Park is now out of a city manager this morning. At yesterday's meeting, 5 out of 6 councilors decided to fire Vernon Wilson after 13 months on the job. Sunland Park Mayor Javier Perea thanked Wilson for his service and offered him a chance to say something. Wilson talked about the credibility of the councilors and urged them to spend money responsibly. And here's what Wilson had to tell us after the meeting.
I have told them repeatedly that they are doing things illegally. They are doing things that are in contradiction to the state statutes. Every time they interfere with a staff action or a operational action in the city, they're in violation of state law, their own ordinance, and my contract.
One woman who lives in Sunland Park tells us she's upset that city leaders didn't reach out to the public about firing Wilson, especially because Wilson says he's a year's salary of $80,000 as severance. It's worth noting that Sunland Park City Council had discussed firing Wilson before last April.
A change at one school has some people turning their heads. The American flag is no longer at a new elementary school in Cañutillo.
It's got a lot of people talking today. That new elementary school being built on the 7400 block of Northern Pass. It's going to be named after former El Paso Congressman Sylvester Reyes.
We have ABC 7's Luke Liddon on the scene right now, live to explain. Good morning, Luke.
Good morning, Hillary and Stephanie. I'm actually right outside the construction zone of this new elementary school. And this is where the American flag that was originally painted has been painted over after a test run. Reyes initially asked if the American flag could be incorporated on the front of the building. And after a test run, an American flag was painted on the school for about 3 or so months. But the colors of the flag didn't match the rest of the neighborhood, and the developer, Hunt Communities, decided to take it down. Apparently there was an agreement between CISD and Hunt Communities that the school would have to match the homes in the neighborhood. And some of the people we talked to weren't too happy about the change.
The American flag goes with every color, every neighborhood, so they should have left it the way it was.
I fly the flag in my house, and so do many of my neighbors. And it doesn't create a mismatch, and I don't think this here would be a mismatch.
A CISD spokesperson says they're going to follow through with the original agreement to match the color of the school with the neighborhood. And Hunt Communities does not open until 8 a.m. this morning, so we will not have a comment until then. Ladies, back to you.
I think the flag matches everything. Thanks, Luke. Well, parents, if your children attend schools in the Isleta district, you have 2 more opportunities to hear why the district needs to hold a $300 million bond election. The next meeting is today at Eastwood High. The final one will be tomorrow at Riverside High. Both meetings begin at 6. And we do have a traffic alert to pass along this morning. The left lanes of I-10 east and west between the Americas Interchange and Zaragoza Overpass will be closed daily this week. It'll be for twice a day, once from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., then again in the evening from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following morning. This will be every day until Friday, so at least you have the times for the commute open, right?
And that is the area that we're talking about. You can see some of those construction vehicles in the median there, so keep that in mind. And new information this morning on a deadly commuter rail accident. The National Transportation Safety Board is sending a team to New York after a train hit a vehicle during the evening rush hour.
It drug it more than 400 feet. Here's Lana Zach.
A horrifying scene just north of New York City.
Screaming, yelling, it was just total panic.
Smoke and fire rising from a commuter train after it smashed into a Jeep Cherokee stuck on the tracks. In this image, the flames engulf the vehicle and appear to cover half the first train car. From behind, the eerie orange light and huge plume of dark smoke visible.
A passenger that ran past me, he had blood on his face.
From above, you can see the massive response, flashing lights up and down the rail line as fire crews rushed in. When the smoke cleared, this was all that was left. Scorched and mangled metal, the Jeep Cherokee all but crushed under the Metro North train.
The third rail of the track came up from the explosion and went right through the car. So it is truly a devastatingly ugly situation to see.
The injured had to be carried out of the front cars. Passengers sitting in the back had no idea how bad it was until they saw it themselves.
We went down ladders and walked out here and saw all the smoke and saw some flames inside the car.
Officials say the woman driving the Jeep was trying to cross the tracks in Valhalla around 6:30 when the gates came down, leaving her in the path of the oncoming train. She died along with several Metro North passengers. The evacuated survivors went to a nearby gym for shelter. The trip home cut tragically short. Lana Zach, ABC News, New York.
It's 6:09. The community of Santa Teresa is one step closer to incorporating this morning.
But there are still plenty of hurdles to overcome if this is going to be a reality. The details up ahead.
And a former teacher in New Mexico gives up his license after facing child abuse charges. A parent tells us there are more questions that need to be answered this morning.
And of course, we have the latest on Storm Track weather forecast. No questions here. It's going to be a great day today.
Yes, but those winds may pick up a bit. Why and for how long? We're going to talk about that up after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.